And we're live.
Hello, SHL. We're back again. It's Rich and Adam.
Hi.
Hello. We're on number 10. I'm
10.
actually not sure this time.
I think it is 10. I can check.
I think it is. I remember I looked, I thought we still had 9 listed at the bottom of the media section.
Yeah, this is 10. We're 10 now.
Cool, double digits. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's like, this is like 3 months of podcasting right here.
Yeah, and this will be, I think, 11 is as far as I got with Akamai, I believe. I think we had 11, so that's pretty good.
We're going to break that record.
Oh, yeah. I hope so.
You and me both.
So yeah, we got a whole lot of stuff to talk about, I guess.
Yeah.
Kind of a weird week, I guess.
What a week it has been. Christ.
I want to. Hey, did you happen to listen to the last Big Slappy Hour?
I listened to like half of it.
Well, basically, let's see. Oh crap!
It was a minute ago.
I wanted to talk about really quick. They had mentioned that since we've been podcasting together, more of my personalities come out, as opposed to when I was solo casting.
Hell yeah!
And I think mostly that's because when in the solo cast, I was more kind of just grinding for money. I didn't really care.
No, yeah, you're just talking. There's
just trying to fill an hour.
Exactly.
I think that's why that is, and I'm glad that's I'm enjoying this way more, so it's easier to kind of let that happen. So
yeah, I mean we say it all the time. It's so much easier to just riff off of somebody else, get a little banter going.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to the Big Slappy Hour again.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great podcast.
I think they were saying they're not the longest running in terms of episode count, but in terms of probably hours, they're most certainly the longest running.
Absolutely.
Podcast.
Has to be.
Yeah. I forget what they said. I think Gifter was at like 150 or something like that, somewhere in that area, I think.
They'll get there. They'll get there.
I kind of forgot. Well, but he was only doing half-hour episodes too, so.
Oh, that's cheating. Well, that's just cheating. They'll get there. They'll break that record. I have no doubt.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, there was something else in that episode I wanted to talk about, but I can't remember what it was, and so I'm just gonna awkwardly talk about it as and that's it. That's it.
Yeah, I mean we can move on to something if it comes back to you. We can always wrap back around to it.
Yeah. You want to just jump right into questions, or do you got anything you want to talk about?
No, nothing in particular to talk about really quickly. Let's just get right into questions. Yeah, we got a lot this week.
Sure. Oh yeah, that's pretty good.
So
first up is Luke.
Yeah.
Like? Yeah.
Yeah, my boy. Luke asks, "How's life?"
Well, it's pretty good here.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. I have to pack all my shit up and move my life in a week, but other than that, I'm like golden right now.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have any complaints. Nothing new either. It's just another week.
Sometimes that's the best thing.
Yeah, that's all right. I don't mind.
Routine. It's comfortable.
Mm-hmm. What about goals for the season for your player?
Yeah, I don't know. Break 35 would be nice. Break 35 points, whatever combination. Maybe break 75, 80 hits. My shots blocked are shit this year, so I'm just going to put no faith in them and have no expectations.
Oh, I was actually just looking, and I was thinking, I seem to remember you having a nice little start to the season. I'm looking at it right now, 10 points in 11 games. That's quite solid. And I looked at blocks. You have
three shots blocked.
11 games?
Don't know how it happened. I'm a defenseman.
As a forward.
So my shots blocked are shit this year, but I'm going to just have no expectations for them. I never hit milestones for shots blocked anyway, so it doesn't matter.
That is bizarre. That's a shot. That's a forward number. I don't understand. That makes no sense.
I'm going to attribute it to the increased hitting, just taking away from that part of my game. I don't know.
Oh, you're on the same line as Dover. Is he like eating up all the blocks? Is that what's going on?
I don't think so. He might be.
He's got 18. I mean, 18's not a bad number, but I don't think it's top 10 at this point.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's Simon, baby. I don't know what Simon does.
Yeah, he's like just a bit outside top 10. Still, like that's just weird. Okay, but points, you're looking really good.
Yeah, points. If I can break 35 this year, I'll be a happy man. I think
Which
I'm just under point per
10.
game right now.
Yeah, you've got 10 points in 11 games, and you're seventh right now for defensemen. Of course, there's like a handful that have 10, so there might be like a big tie there.
Yeah. Might not be the Stevens year. Doesn't matter that much.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think if Tanner keeps up that Jack Tanner keeps up that pace, because he should be blocking a ton of shots. Where'd that go? Oh, he's actually not. It's not even the top 10 for shots blocked. That's a bit surprising. I figured he would.
This league's crazy, man.
Anyway,
Yeah. What about you though, Rich? What's the goal? I know the hit goal, obviously.
150. I need 150. Last time I calculated, I was on pace for like 140, which is really disappointing, especially given preseason.
You were on pace for like 240 or something.
What's that?
You were on pace for like 200 plus hits in the preseason.
I think I ended preseason with 204, which would be amazing. I'm not expecting that. My realistic expectation was 180, but I started off pretty bad. I've picked it up in the last few games.
Yeah, plenty of time to pick it up still.
Behind. Yeah, but if I end below 150, I will be very disappointed. Outside of that, I don't really care that much because I'm kind of the way we're playing our lines. I'm not required to get a lot of points. We're basically like a kind of a stalemate line where we're supposed to line up against the other team's top lines and kind of just
you're defensive. You're a defensive line. That's the way it is. I get it.
So I'm not expecting points. I think I'm doing it. I think I got like 6 in 11 games or something like that, which is fine. I'm okay with that. Should actually look.
Oh, that's not terrible.
Yeah, 6 and 11. I'm okay with that. I would like to hit 30. That would be better.
Yeah, I think that's a solid goal. 30.
30 would be fine. Just because I think our line is a little. It's not a first line. It doesn't. I don't think match up too terribly well against other first lines. It's me. What's his player's name? Schmurf. His name is Eric Pelletier. Let's say it's pronounced like that. His player is like I think 1100-ish TP, somewhere in that area. And Bobby Watson, who's a solid sniper, I believe, from formerly Toronto. So it's an okay line, but it's not really in line with like other teams' top lines, which are gonna have like 1400 DP plus type players, when we're all kind of in that 1200 area. Which is good.
Yeah, dude, like that's still a really solid line.
Yeah, but it's not quite. We're kind of stacking up our second line in the hopes of getting favorable matchups for Nova and Wazi, which seems to be working because they're doing pretty well. Although this last 3 games we just kind of shit the bed. So.
I mean, it happens. It's the sim. There's not much you can do about it at times.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go. I guess that was goals. 150 points for me. Around 30 points would be.
Yeah, 150 points. Yeah. That's a good goal actually.
It's fine. I've got a brain. It works.
3 points a game? Hell yeah.
So yeah. There you go, Luke. Thank you for the questions as always, and I enjoy your podcast. I haven't listened to the interview one yet. Have you done that yet?
I have not.
And if you listen, I would love to be interviewed as well. That'd be fantastic.
Don't interview me.
Come on.
Maybe interview. I haven't done anything worth interviewing at this point, but maybe.
I mean, you've got the GM cred. So
I've got a very successful podcast.
Hey, that's something too. That's important.
The GM cred. Let's not talk about GM cred.
Some people are interested in that stuff. Even if it's
true.
Just strategy and kind of some kind of insight or
I'm worried if they interview me about GM shit, everyone's going to find out that I'm actually a fraud that just wings it.
That's everybody.
Yeah.
You got anything else you want to add there?
Nah, 40-ish points would be nice. 80-ish hits. Don't care about shots blocked at this point.
Yeah. So weird. Okay. Clint. He's got a first similar question. How's your day been?
It's been all right. Got up early, went out, walked around, had some I don't know. I don't do anything extraordinary. I just kind of went about my day,
Yeah, it's not too bad.
made a lunch.
Nice. Have anything good?
Yeah, I like stir fry.
Oh, okay.
It was alright, you know. It was homemade stir fry.
That can be good.
If you're into that.
Yeah. I drove about an hour and a half to pick up a car part, and then drove back, and then took about another 3 hours to put that car part in. So that's been most of my day until now.
What you fixing?
Not fixing anything, just putting a little front. What do you call an under spoiler, or like
Oh, yeah.
on the front of my car?
Yeah, what is? I don't know the term for that. I think
Yeah, I mean, Subaru calls it an under spoiler.
I knew what you meant. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's just the OEM, the stock kind of Subaru one, so it's nice and subtle. It's not crazy.
Nothing
nice
flashy.
Yeah.
Well, that's neat. Hour and a half though. That's a long drive for that.
Yeah, it saved me a ton of money though, because the dealer in, for whatever reason, this other town had it the cheapest I could find. But their website listed the shipping as like $20.
Yikes!
Which is super low. And so I was a little suspect on that. I was like, that doesn't sound quite right, but I'll order it anyway. So they called me the other day and said, hey, we can't ship this for the price that we quoted on the website.
Yeah.
The website calculates based on cost, not on size. And this it comes in a huge box.
Oh yeah, well that'll ramp it up a bit.
So I went and picked it up, and it still saved me, a bunch of money.
That's good.
The shipping would have been about $80. So.
Oh Christ, yeah. Well, at that point, worth the gas money just to go.
Yep, not too bad.
And what are you guys paying out there per gallon right now?
God, it's like 3.5, I suppose.
Okay, that's not too different from. I think we're at about 3.25, 3.30 maybe.
Yeah. Is there an app that you hate to use but use anyway? Or do you hate but use anyway?
I lied. We're actually at like 2 3/4 in Philly right now. That's just fucking
really?
sick. An app that I use that I hate. The NHL app sucks. It's just poorly designed.
I've used it on Xbox, and yeah, it's garbage there too.
It's garbage.
It's clunky and weird, and just like I don't know. The stream seems like way behind.
Yeah, no, it's a bad site. That's horribly made.
I don't do a ton of like phone apps though, really.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. All the ones that I use regularly are well-designed apps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Which one is it? I was trying to find a game this weekend or last weekend. Maybe it's the NFL app on Xbox as well. I found to be awkward to use. I might be misremembering.
Yeah,
it might have been something else. I don't remember.
It's like sports apps in general, honestly.
There just seemed like just interesting you in, and not really experience.
I hate the Amtrak app, and I use that quite frequently.
Not familiar with that. Is it just like scheduling kind of thing?
It's scheduling tickets. You can buy tickets through it. It shows delays and shit. It's just like not that well laid out, but I also need a place to store my train tickets, so could be better, could be worse. I don't know. Like I said, most of the apps I use regularly aren't shit. Yeah. And that's why I use them regularly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Not going to use something that I don't like using.
Yeah. I guess for me, the Rooster Teeth app is pretty shit, but I do use that pretty frequently. I catch up on my podcasts with that. Facebook, but I don't really use Facebook that much anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the One Bite Pizza app's not great. It's not terrible though. It's good if you want to find a pizza joint nearby. I don't know. I'm just looking at my apps now, trying to figure out what I have that is shit, and it's not a lot.
I don't use enough, so yeah, I'm just looking to. I might have like a single page of things that I use, and that's it.
Ticketfly, also a shitty app. Twitch, terrible. Wow, I use a lot of shit apps. What the hell? Anyway, let's move on from that topic.
Thanks, Clint, I guess.
Yeah, thanks, Clint.
For your weird questions.
Entertaining.
Izzy's next.
Speaking of entertaining questions, it's been a volatile week on the boards with a set of Thunderdome posts capturing a fair bit of activity. What's both of your takes on the Thunderdome? Is it still good for the site? Should there be changes made pertaining to it? I don't know, man. That's a really weird area.
Yeah. And actually, Luke asked a similar question a little bit later. Is our Thunderdome still useful anymore?
I guess we can kind of cover both those questions in this bit here.
Yeah. When so I hate the Thunderdome. I think it's kind of I guess I don't understand it. I don't see a lot of value in it. I don't understand why people seem to love it.
I'm a drama whore, right? I love when people blow up on each other. I hate when people blow up on me, but I love watching other people just duke it out. So the primal need to watch people fight is what makes me enjoy it. But I don't think it should exist because people enjoy it. I think it should exist because, as several dozens of people have pointed out, and the only reason I'm thinking JP is because I've always got JP on my mind, is that it kind of has to exist, or you're going to see a lot of the shit that gets posted in there flood out to other boards on the site.
I wonder, though, if it provides like a sense or a feeling of safety that is part of what brings the things out in it. Because there used to be, I don't think this is the case now, not with what we'll talk about later. There used to be a sense that whatever was in the Thunderdome was like completely free for all, didn't matter. Like,
didn't matter, right? It's
rules were unenforceable in there.
Absolutely.
That's not true. Even the previous rule we had regarding
like personal conduct and shit.
Yeah, personal attacks and that kind of stuff. It said, I think that just Thunderdome was underneath there, fell under that rule as well. But there was a sense amongst the membership that the Thunderdome was kind of like just free for all. But I forget what I was going to say now. Crap.
Well, you're right. That is, I think people use the Thunderdome as a place to be no holds barred, uncensored, untamed, unrated, right? Even though, as you said, the rules kind of, I believe you're right, and they do now specifically cover the Thunderdome as far as personal attacks go. But I don't know. It's weird because I think as a tool for keeping people in check and also keeping toxicity out of the general boards, the Thunderdome makes sense that it exists, but it also is kind of a breeding ground for a lot of shit that I don't like about the league.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. When let's see, in S27, I think it was when Jedi stepped down from Kelowna and Lil was named the new GM. When she was looking for co-GMs, one of her questions was, what's your stance on the Thunderdome? And like members of your team participating in the Thunderdome. And basically my answer was that if I would not want any of my team participating in the Thunderdome unless somebody was calling them out, I suppose. I just didn't want any, like, myself or my team associated with anything that kind of went on in there. That was always my kind of feeling about it. Because it always seems so negative.
And like, especially if you've got people who are particularly prone to being, what's the word I'm looking for here? People that are prone to being a little volatile, maybe. Although that, you know what I mean? People that are just prone to being the type of person that the Thunderdome is built for.
Mm.
If you've got those people on your team, the last thing you want is them starting shit and getting suspended and fucking your team over.
Yeah. I wouldn't worry about that so much. More about how it could affect my team's culture and the perception of my team from the outside.
Yeah, and that's an incredibly fair argument to pose too. Because you do run the risk of alienating free agents who are new to the site. if they know that your team has a reputation. Obviously, there are teams in juniors that have a reputation for being more abrasive than others, and obviously they have it in the SHL too. I'm on one of them, I think. I think there are teams that have a reputation for being a little more explosive than others, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That said, I don't think that always equates to Thunderdomes, but it certainly can be related to that. It's a really tough thing to talk about because a lot of people think the Thunderdome should exist, and for good reason, I think. Like I said, you don't want the toxicity of that board spreading to the rest of the forum. But at the same time, does it create toxicity that will inevitably overwhelm the league anyway?
I'd be really concerned about the backlash of removing it if we were to.
It would, yeah, no, that would be a decision that you probably see go. I mean, we see 50-50 a lot on rulings that head office puts out, but I think that is one that I think a majority would be unhappy with.
Probably.
It's a weird institution that is probably good for the league in a really twisted sort of way. I stick to Discord. I spend more of my time on Discord than I do on the forum.
Yeah, and that's I think a significant portion of the membership at this point. But I don't know. Thunderdome, I have a hard time because I don't participate. I don't really ever go in it. I try to avoid it, so it's difficult for me to, I guess, have a strong opinion on it because I don't. Yeah, it doesn't really concern me.
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
Changes made pertaining to it. I guess there kind of have been, sort of.
Yeah, the new conduct rule kind of creates an oversight for it.
I mean, technically it was those rules applied to it, but they just weren't really enforced. But
yeah, no one did it.
More, I guess I don't know the new rule. I haven't read it. But from what I understand, I think it's a little more, I don't know, specific.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk. I think someone has asked a question about that, so we can get into that new rule change when we get to that. But yes, I think it was Slappy or Luke maybe too.
Yeah.
But the Thunderdome's a really gray situation that there's a lot of opinions on it. It's real hard to boil that down to a black and white. We should remove it or we should keep it.
Yeah, I think no matter what you do, you can't really win. So it's just going to be it kind of has to remain, but it remaining isn't necessarily helpful. But I think removing it's probably more harmful than
we're probably worse off if it's gone.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I'm a little bummed that I agree with that, but I think I do.
Yeah, lesser of two evils. Sometimes it's all you can do.
Yeah. You want to go to the next one there?
Yeah. Wally has taken over the point tasks this season and has brought a fresh set of topics to the table, some of which require more thought, research, and time to do them. And in our opinion, will that draw praise or criticism from the member base? I think that is a change that is good for the league.
I love the current PT.
It's awesome. It's fantastic.
Like, I went back and edited my post and created an alternate lineup. I thought about this so much. I spent so much time thinking about it at work. I was really excited to write mine. It's really disappointing to me to see so many people claiming outside PTs on this one.
Yeah,
I was really interested to see what people were going to put together.
Not to pick on anyone in particular, but there was a comment in that thread I gotta pull up real quick. That made me laugh my ass off when I saw it for the first time. Let's go to that PT real quick.
Did you finish yours yet?
No, I've been writing, but I haven't finished it. I have an idea of who I would put in there, and maybe I'll talk about that. But
I knew
Yeah, not
immediately a
gonna.
couple of people I wanted. So
Yeah, right away in my head, I'm thinking, like, like Yakabita, right? Um,
yeah, that's a
Run
really
Mexico,
really common pick, which makes a lot of sense.
Run Mexico, probably in the earliest seasons.
That's one of the I think easier picks for like because S1 to S9 to me was the hardest.
Yeah.
Um,
There's
but that's like a super fairly not the easiest, but it's a very easy pick I think amongst the
um
available people.
of the S30s, probably Clayton is a solid pick for that era.
Clayton would be fine. Yeah.
You could pick Kerchewski too. Though I think he's been shining more in the late S30s into the early S40s than he did early S30s. Um, Asa, obviously, probably an incredibly solid pick for the like late teens, early 20s to late 20s era.
Yeah, but his I think he's a tough pick for me anyway because he's like
I
he's
feel
never
like
been like like
individually
at a
great.
single season or like over a set of 10 seasons, he's never really been the best player. He's just been really good for a really long time.
Yeah, and I mean, and but then does that count for not being the best at one given moment? You're just consistently great.
That's the trick. Like when I did mine, my first lineup, I did kind of picking. Well, I was gonna pick lots of hitting people because that's what I like. So mine's really not like the best generational players. It's just guys that are power forwards and hit and that kind of stuff. But I chose my first lineup kind of based on one season within the decades. So like if I would kind of designate which season I was kind of choosing that player from, um, just based on like if they had one really good season. Like I think the best example would have been Nathan Russell, who I went with in S31. I think S31 because during like S31, S32, S30, 31, and 32, he was like excellent. One of the like best stretch of seasons that a power forward has ever had in the league. Just
I would agree with
extremely
that.
good. And so I decided to take one of those seasons as like the representative season for that player. And I did that for all of them in the first lineup I did. The alternate I did decades. I just did away with trying to pick individuals, but yeah, I liked it. But as far as I guess praise or criticism, I mean, it looks like people are less willing to do one that requires a bit more work.
Yeah, which doesn't surprise me. What the fuck was I
Yeah.
doing here? I was in this thread for a reason. Yeah, I'm not gonna. I found the post I was thinking of. I'm not gonna call it any name or anything, but someone had made a comment about. A couple of people had made comments about like, really glad that there's so many options for these PTs, and then immediately claimed welfare.
Yeah.
And I thought, so what's the point of these anymore?
Yeah. And the like your work, your research was done for you too.
Yeah, it was right
posted
there.
a link to the so yeah, it really doesn't require that much extra work.
This is what I was afraid of, baby.
Yeah, yeah.
The league's going to shit.
People are
Calling
gonna
it
do
right now.
the easiest option available, meaning maybe not necessarily RPT.
Yeah. So calling it right now, baby. League's going to shit because of this.
I mean, it's not going to shit, but it's definitely we're seeing it in front of us that
And it's big.
Losing content.
Yep.
Like content's being taken away from the league, and in a PT like this, I want to read through the people's answers because I'm interested to see what people's takes are. Most people, I think, are kind of doing the same thing, just taking the kind of token players, the Ido Kalios, the Vlad McZees,
Garbanzo, kind of, yeah.
So you're seeing a lot of the same players, but it's still interesting to see like, hey, some people have slightly different takes. Like, for example, Izzy did basically an all Dragons lineup. That's not a huge surprise from Izzy, but
no, but it's a solid lineup still.
Yeah, or mine is like a really physical lineup. Or let's see, if I can find another odd one here. I thought I remembered somebody else having a couple of interesting picks. It's been a while since I went through. Yeah, here's kind of an odd one. Harry Hands, who's not a common pick at all, and I guess an arguable pick. He had a stretch in, I want to say, the early S30s where he was really really good, maybe mid S30s. I don't know. It's interesting to me. I like it. And Bonk and Slappy, if you're listening, I picked Slappy. Slappy was one of the guys that I absolutely had to have because I went at this from the angle of like
He's a character guy, man.
this is a lineup I want to see actually playing together. I'm not interested in picking like just the best people. You know, I actually want a lineup that I would like to see playing together, and also part of that is people that I like on the site. So
Well, and yeah, and Slappy's a character guy.
Yeah.
So
when I saw this, my automatic picks were Slappy, PB for Nathan Russell.
yeah,
and
Pete's
I
great pick.
wanted myself because I want to play on a line with those two.
And who could blame you?
Right. And then the other ones that I wanted were Bonk and Tanner, Jacob Tanner, the goalie.
Yeah.
The problem is that's too many people from the S20 through S30 era. So
Yep.
I had to.
That's the problem.
That's why I did the alternate lineup because I wanted to find a way to fit Bonk in, fit Big Manny's in there because Big Manny's is a fantastic defensive defenseman. That's the kind of stuff I like. So yeah, praise or criticism. I don't know. There hasn't been people criticizing it. There just haven't been people really doing it as much. So
Yeah, I think we're seeing. I haven't done the numbers, and I'm probably wrong on this estimate, but I would say probably about 40% of the posts that we got for this PT thus far are probably welfare claims.
Yeah,
which kind of sucks, but
that sounds right. Like just guessing, I would have guessed about half.
Yeah, I just went through the pages. I think it's a little under half, but I would probably put it somewhere around 35-40%. I don't think anyone's going to criticize it. If anything, I think people are incredibly happy that there are like 4 different options to do a PT now.
Yeah.
The podcast is a great idea.
It is. I just feel like it probably takes more work than writing.
Yeah, exactly.
It
still does suck.
Upload and this.
Yeah.
What was the first PT? I forgot it already because I was so excited about this one.
PT was what 3 things are new on your team or something like that?
Yep. The 3 like things to look forward to or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah. That one was pretty good too.
Yeah, the PTs have been really good this season.
Yeah. I mean, we're only 2 in, but it's a nice change from what we've kind of had the last 2 seasons, which I have not enjoyed.
Yeah, I mean, what have we been doing basically? What did your player do this week?
Yeah.
What kind of business would you run?
I sent Wally a message in Discord earlier, and basically it's just like, hey, I'm really liking these PTs because I enjoy this a lot more than just making up nonsense, which is kind of what it felt like for a while. So
yeah, and like, I think it's important to strike a balance between writing shit that is interesting, but also requires you to write. This is awesome because it requires you to actually dig through history. That's sick.
Yeah.
The 3 things to look forward to on your team, that's stats writing. That's sick. There was a PT, like, I want to say, it's like mid S30s, where it was talking about someone's got the mascot is sick and one of you has to be the mascot to go to some fucking event at a children's hospital or some shit. How does it go? And I'm like, okay, as a fiction writer, as a character writer, that's kind of neat, being able to write something about what hockey players do off ice. But then there comes a point where it's just kind of boring to write 150 words about nothing. If the scenario isn't interesting, it's not interesting to write.
Yeah, but my problem is with those types of things, even if it's interesting, I have trouble with that.
That's fair.
So I'm not going to enjoy it. So we absolutely need a balance for sure, no question. I kind of would want these type of PTs all season long. It would be very easy for me, but that doesn't make sense for the league, I don't think. So yeah, but I'm enjoying them a lot.
I too. If it's drawed praise from me, baby. I like the way Wally's doing it. I like the way the whole PT team's doing it this year. It's good shit.
Yep. It'll be interesting to see if it's sustainable, though, because it is difficult coming with PTs every week.
It's tough. Yeah. And I wonder if it's not worth just writing out a giant list of them and having them ready to go. Because we get, 4 or 5 PTs a season?
Yeah, I think it's 5 or 6. I think it's just 5 for sure. I think it might be 6. I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to go 5 for sure, maybe 6. I don't remember. Got anything else you want to move on to Luke's second set of questions?
Yeah, we can move on to Luke's next set of questions. I think we already answered one of them, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. His first one is, what are your thoughts on the recent rule changes? And I guess there's two. I forgot. Because it feels like the Marius one is so so long ago at this point, even though it really isn't. It just feels like it is because of the more recent stuff.
That was, yeah, like last week.
Yeah. So we just two, and I had forgotten, kind of pushed that one to the back of my head. But that's one of those the Marius rule, the update thing, is one of those things that when I was an updater, I would have loved to have had.
As an updater, I love having it.
Yes. It's something that should have been done, and I think I talk about this last week, or maybe off air I talked about it. But when I was updating, I caught a couple of people going over the cap, probably not intentionally, just they weren't tracking their number. So I would say, hey, you've gone over. Double check me, because I may not be 100%, because I'm just going back through your updates. But this would be avoidable if you just tracked it in your update thread. And I don't remember if the people that I said that to added it to theirs or not. But it's the thing of, like, we need to get our updates more standard, and then we need to enforce that standard. That was kind of always my big thing with the updates, why I didn't enjoy it and why I left twice.
Yeah, I think having a standard is a good thing. Of the two rules that happened, this is the one I think that got blown out of proportion the biggest. I think the other one we're going to talk about, the conduct change, is a bit more of a complex situation. I do not think at all that this deserved the explosive reaction that it garnered when it first happened. I think the reason most people were upset about it is because there was a lack of communication within, I don't know if it was head office to updaters, like to the updater head, or if it was updater head to people. I know for a fact I asked our head updater whether or not we were supposed to implement the rule with an iron fist, right? Do it now. Don't give them a chance to get away with it for a week. And I said, hey, are we applying it this weekend, or are we going to give people a grace period? And he said, no, apply it this weekend, and the rule is pretty cut and dry about it. But we had some updaters that did give people leeway, right? Did give people a chance to get the cap in, and that miscommunication kind of led to the idea that maybe there's a lack of parity in the updating office, and I think that helped stoke the fire. But I think people severely overreacted to this decision. I think this is a good thing for the league on the whole.
It's definitely good overall. I think there probably should have been like a soft enforcement the first week, just because I think there was a very short period of time between.
It was 3 days.
When it was announced, which is it's not really enough when you're dealing with around 200-ish people.
And I think that was the big thing, was people saying, did we really need to enforce it straight away this week? And
I think.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, at that point it had already kind of been done, and it was kind of too late.
Yeah, the argument. Yeah, at that point updates had been finished, but as an updater, I did what I was told, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know whether or not a decision on how it would be implemented was communicated between head office and the updating team. I don't think there was, and there probably should have been. Obviously, the guys in HO and the guys in the updating team, good guys that know what they're doing, but I think there was a lack of communication there that turned this into a bigger situation than it needed to be.
Yeah.
But on the whole, I think it's a good rule change. I think it'll be good for the league.
Yeah. I'd like to see more of this kind of like standardizing the updates.
Now we just need to get a standard update.
Yep. It saves so much time if everybody's doing the same thing.
That one will be a little bit harder to get done, I think.
Yep. Yeah. The issue was, when I was doing it, is like, how this is supposed to be fun for everybody. So you can't kind of with an iron fist say, I'm not updating you because you didn't put a period at the end of your sentence. But at the same time, it makes the job so much harder when somebody's got a bad update. So it's tricky. Like you don't want to ruin somebody's experience for something that, I don't know, they don't see as a big deal.
Well, and that I think was kind of the balance. I talked to Ted a lot about this rule when it happened that weekend and the following days after. That there is the point to be made that enforcing this kind of shit with an iron fist or having a standardized update might be too rigorous or too regimented for people who are just trying to do this casually.
Yes.
But at the same time, you would think that for those people who are just trying to do this casually, having a template that they can just copy paste would actually make it easier. You know what I mean? If you say, here's the template, copy paste it every week, done.
I wonder if having this kind of like knowledge base that is just kind of handed down from person to person is maybe part of the issue.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like everybody gets their update, how to update from somebody different, and everybody's kind of got their own style, and so you got this weird, I don't know, like stew of update formats.
Yeah, we've been playing a big game of telephone since season 1.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think it's a good idea to move to a standardized update. I don't think it's going to actually happen though. I think that's a big step that a lot of people aren't going to be willing to make. Prove me wrong. I don't know.
It's tough.
It would make it easier for updaters, but
yes, a lot.
At what cost?
Yeah.
At what cost?
So the other rule change.
Yeah, this has been the topic of this discussion for what, like 4 fucking days now?
I have not read it yet.
Oh, it's big, man. It's so big. It's actually amazing because there are 3, maybe 4 threads related to this. It technically 4, kind of, if you count because this kind of stemmed when Form-X and Logan got another disciplinary ban. And I feel like that kind of kick-started things. I think they actually... Did they mention that in this announcement, in the personal conduct announcement? I would need to check.
Not really. Well, no, I guess it is kind of, because they do... If I recall what Logan was suspended for, they did include that in this one. Not that specifically, but that, the word that he used.
So if you count the Logan Form-X suspension, then this is a 4-thread thing that we're dealing with here. The first thread being the Mariah suspension, or the Mariah suspension, however the fuck you pronounce it.
Yeah.
I've heard it both ways. Carrie, correct me, man.
Carrie.
Correct me. The Carrie thread, where Logan went and said some shit. That was in that thread. He said some shit to Finn. I think he said some shit to Finn that led to him getting suspended. And then Formy got suspended for, I think, saying he wished Ass Pancakes was dead. And I don't know I think it was probably a joke. It's Formy, like, it's Form-X. At the same time, I see that HO wants to kind of create an example, but either way, that thread, the Carrie thread, kind of kicked off the Logan suspension. Then someone posted the 30-plus page Thunderdome of /ACM, who used some slurs for gay people when talking about Carrie. It always comes back to fucking Carrie. Carrie obviously had I don't know if you saw it, but he's doing like SIG auctions. He's got like pre-built SIGs and people are bidding on it.
Yeah, I heard about it through the /ACM.
Okay, cool. So yeah. So that obviously was the kickoff for that, / saying some shit in a team Discord, I believe. Then someone thunderdomed him about that. And then Halsey started a satire Thunderdome of that one, which just led to more weird. Yeah, because the explain thread is the /thunderdome.
Yep. Yep.
And then explain 2.0 is the one Halsey started.
Oh, I did see that, I think. Where did that? Oh, there it is. Excuse me. Oh, yeah. I remember that. Okay, yep.
That was the one
There's a
Halsey
3?
started.
What?
I didn't read 3. I'm not caught up on that one. I'm caught up to the personal conduct thread, and I don't know anything else that's happening.
I'm pretty sure that's Clint.
I think it's NJ Bad Apple, right?
Yes. I think he...
Either way, like...
Oh, God.
So we've got the Halsey thread, which kicked off the discussion about how we double standard insults, I think. I mean,
I thought that was that came from what's his name, IOBeast.
Yeah, in the Explain 2.0 thread.
Okay, yeah.
That's where he talked about that.
Like mixed into one.
It basically is for 3 or 4 threads that are just the same thread. The whole thing, just fucking all over the place. There's no timeline to follow because it all happened in like the span of 2 or 3 days. And I wonder how much of the arguing occurring in any of these threads was in bad faith, you know? I know there were people talking about, are we gonna ban rap videos now because they got words that are on the ban list now? And I do think that I think that this issue in particular has highlighted a problem that I think the league has had probably since its inception, but I wouldn't know since I've only been here since S34, that a lot of people like to argue in bad faith.
Yeah, I think that's...
So, what was the question? I'm totally off topic now.
Thoughts on the rule changes?
This is a weird rule change for me because I really appreciate the sentiment, and I think they're doing a good thing, but I think that it's not really well written. As people have pointed out, Toe is the one that comes to mind because I think his post was the last one I read about it. That currently the rule reads, simply using the following words in a sentence alone or in images site-wide, including the Thunderdome, and then it lists some slurs, or any other spelling or severe reference to those words will be an automatic suspension of both you from the site and your player from the sim itself at the moment it is posted without appeal. That's the first part, and I think my issue with that is that one of the words included on that list is just the word gay, and that's kind of a slippery slope because that's not an inherently offensive word, like some of the other words that are on that list. You run the risk. People pointed it out, probably in bad faith, but also I think people pointed out legitimately. Obviously, JP, his player's last name is Gay now. Jean-Pierre Gay. So does that warrant a suspension? Mentioning JP's player name, or I think it should be written as using the following words with an inherent with an inherent attempt to offend or to belittle. You know what I mean? Using those words with a negative connotation will result in a suspension. But
all you have to do is say, instead of saying will be an automatic suspension, is just say could be, and to give you some room for
it will be reviewed, right?
Yeah, because you can't just I don't know. It feels weird to have it just be automatic. Just be
that that is the automatic, and the fact that some, particularly the word gay, people have argued for using the word retard in a non-offensive manner, but I've never heard it used in a non-offensive manner.
It's fairly questionable. I mean, it's
gay is one thing, because that, I mean, really is an inherently inoffensive word.
Yeah. That would have to be very, very much context based.
Yeah. I think that the lack of leniency for context is an issue with that rule. I think the idea is a great idea, and I think their heart's in the right place, but I think that doing it without review is going to lead to some probably unearned suspensions.
Yeah, and this has kind of been part of my problem with the rule book in the past is that it feels like there's the way some of the things are written, it leaves no room for discretion, and so then the HO doesn't really take any. They just dish out kind of punishment by default.
Yeah.
In cases where it doesn't need, it's not necessary. And this
Um,
is another case that it feels like. And when I saw this, I didn't actually read it prior. I just saw that it existed, so I assumed it was not going to be quite like this. So I was kind of just thinking, oh, it's probably just more of a conduct rule that you would have like on virtually any other site in existence.
right, like a TOS,
just,
basically.
Yeah, just now we have one too. So I was like, okay, that's cool. Now I'm reading it. I don't like that bit at all.
Well, and that and people have an issue with the second half of that part of the rule, which is that, quote, posting of additional vocabulary primarily used to slander various religions, ethnic groups, those with disabilities, and specific sexual designations will leave you vulnerable to the same punishments as listed below on a retroactive basis from the 14th of September 2018 going forward, meaning that any word used that is deemed in violation will be added to the list and penalized immediately. I don't think head office is full of despots. I should say that right now. But you do leave open a lot of room to just start putting words on a list for minimal reason. Again, I don't think HO's full of despots. I don't think they're going to go around starting to restrict free speech. I think getting rid of racial slurs, slurs based on sexual designation, ableist slurs, any of that, good thing for the site. People can say the league's getting soft or we're getting too PC. We should strive to make people feel comfortable here. And so I don't think HO is going to run around just banning words at random. But you do leave that open for that to happen.
It's weird to have. My feeling is that it's designed to kind of not allow people that kind of out of using these words as a joke, right?
Yeah.
But then at the same time, you leave that kind of creates a situation where you have no ability to use any discretion at all. And then that is weird. That having this list, I don't know. It's very strange.
and the problem also becomes, that what this is going to serve to do is to test really how clever the people that this rule is aimed at are as far as coming up with ways to offend people goes. You know what I mean? You wonder how much of this is going to create, like how many people are going to toe the line because of this rule, right? Because again, like I said, I think that this site has a problem with some toxicity sometimes and arguments in bad faith. I do wonder how many times this rule is going to get tested. And it'll be interesting to see how head office handles that moving forward. I know that was a big issue. I know people really weren't happy about part 4 added to the personal attacks rule. Substatement 4 being, from this point forward, September 14th, 2018, Discord, as an extension of the SHL itself being represented, will now be under the same scrutiny as the website, simulationhockey.com. While there will be no need for locker rooms to have head office involved on a day-to-day basis, as cases are presented, they will be reviewed and determined as punishable or not at discretion of the head office. I don't think people read that because people were up in arms about head office policing Discords, but again, if it's going to be left to people to make the move in the first place, it was probably going to happen anyway, you know? Like we saw with the /Thunderdome. That was a screen cap from a Discord. If this was in place where you could send that to head office and they could determine a punishment without having to go to the Thunderdome, that's probably a good thing. I think people took this far too literally, meaning that that Discords would be policed, when I think this is probably a good thing to give people the ability to say something without needing to physically put themselves out there.
Yeah. In the past, it was basically entirely hands off. So it was the largely the site, the attitude of the HO was like anything off site is just not it's not us. So I think because the Discords have become so much a part of the league
Exactly.
now, it's kind of necessary.
Yeah. If you go back to the late teens, early 20s, I would assume Discord not nearly as big with players as it is now.
Yeah, they started pretty much late 20s, I'd say.
Right.
And, let's see. Yeah, I guess I probably had my first one around 28, maybe.
Right.
7? Something like that.
And back at that point, most of the activity was on the forum. But you're right, because Discord is so ingrained in the league right now, it's kind of a necessity for people to be able to be punished for what they're saying in there, since it's basically become an extension of the forum.
Yeah.
People are going to disagree with that part of the ruling. I think it's a necessity. I think it's one of those things you just have to grit your teeth, bear it, and get used to it, because Discord is wildly popular right now.
Yeah, it feels like the kind of the natural progression based on the way the league has moved. Discord's so big for pretty much every team now at this point.
And it's a great chat client. Real-time messaging, quick talk, get access to everybody really easily without having to worry about forum notifications. But that means we have to police it like it's the forum. If someone reports something, we have to make a punishment, you know?
Yeah, a lot of teams I think function in a very official way within these Discords. So it, as far as setting up lines and discussing things that are like all the league related discussion, at least for Minnesota, it takes place in the Discord.
Yeah, so. No, in Vancouver in particular, we have a whole channel dedicated to lines. So anytime lines are updated, it's updated in there. People can talk about them, talk about where they've done. Some of our players do test sims on their own and throw in their suggestions there. I'll run them, see how they go. All of our management is handled in Discord, so
yeah.
I think this is a necessary step that people are going to disagree with, because Discord was a quote unquote safe bastion for them to get away with saying shit that is kind of heinous.
Yeah, it's not great.
I think, so general thoughts on this rule. Some of it needs to be rewritten. Some of it is perfectly fine as it is.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
This is going to be a good thing for the league going forward. It just needs to be discussed in a more open and less bad faith manner. I think people really need to talk about the implications of this rule without resorting to name calling or bad faith arguments, or just in general not really taking it as seriously as it should be. Because this is a good thing, but I definitely think it needs to be reviewed.
Yeah, for sure. I would definitely agree with that. So we're probably coming up on about an hour, right? Am I wrong about that?
Let's see.
Gotta be getting close.
Yeah, we are at 58:50.
So we've still got a fairly substantial question from Slappy that will require a bit, and then we also got another topic that I really want to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, we can, if you're willing, we can. Yeah, we can. We can run long. I'm fine running long.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I do actually. Slappy's question is interesting, but it kind of
it's a talk. It's a talker. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you want to do first?
Let's do Slappy's question, then end on the thing we talked about, because I think that's a really interesting discussion to close it out with.
I agree. Cool. So Slappy says, you both played under multiple GMs. What are your opinions on the duties of a GM? How far-reaching are they? Should they be taking an active hand in player builds and helping shape the roster? Should they help shepherd users through site navigation and help avoid drama? Oh, wait, I talked about that a little bit, sort of, kind of. I'm just generally interested in what you see as the boundaries of a GM's duties based upon your experiences.
This is a great question. This is honestly just an interesting question to talk about.
And it's interesting because to me, it's really different if you're looking at SMJHL or SHL.
Absolutely, by a
Very,
country
very
mile.
Yeah. So my assumption is he's probably saying SHL because those are kind of more prominent, and you're playing for SHL GMs more, and like multiple GMs. I haven't played for multiple SMJHL GMs. Actually, that's not true. I did play for multiple SMJHL GMs, myself and Jedi. So
There you go.
but I think this is mostly aimed at SHL, would be my guess. But I think it warrants discussing SMJHL as well because it is very different.
Yeah.
And I think SMJHL's GMs have more duties to their players than an SHL GM does. I think I'd have to maybe think about that. But my initial kind of reaction is that SMJHL GMs are responsible for more in regards to helping their players.
Yeah.
So, opinions on the duties of a GM. So I think most of what, or not most, but a lot of what GMs do, maybe most, aren't necessarily their duties.
I would agree. I think
GM duties are fairly limited, really, if they do just exactly what they need to do to
rosters, lines, budgets.
Yeah. I think some in terms of like activity, like encouraging activity within the locker room, you could consider that a duty just because it's kind of bad to not have an active group usually.
Yeah, it's true. Though you can kind of counter that with having a really peppy co-GM that just does it for you.
Right. But I think that I would consider GM co-GM kind of falling under this.
It's fair.
So yeah, I guess they're like truly official duties would be things like getting your roster set up, doing lines, managing the team, meaning like signing, trading, drafting.
Yeah, I mean I think the textbook GM duties are probably a given, and they make sense for them. As far as how far-reaching they are, I mean, they kind of have to be all-reaching.
Yeah, it'd have to be. I guess when we're looking at things that aren't necessarily like strictly duties, but things that GMs do, like suggesting, build strategy, or encouraging things like locker room activity, that kind of stuff. I don't know how far-reaching this is. Yeah, I think the duties only extend past the absolutely official duties. Anything else is extra. I think most GMs probably consider them duties just because they want their team to be the best it can be, even though they aren't really necessarily duties. Should they be taking an active hand in player builds and helping shape their roster? That's really specific, I think, to the player. Most teams, I think, are going to have other people on the roster that can handle that too. I think offering suggestions is positive for everybody, for GM, veteran players, even newer players that are kind of running test sims or having some experience will have suggestions on how to build. But I don't think that should be something that a GM should like demand of a player. It's all got to be suggestion, right?
Absolutely. I think it is. A GM can only do so much. You know what I mean? Yeah. Inevitably, the player's gonna have to take initiative.
Yeah, player builds and helping shape the roster. I don't know. This is really
shaping the roster, kind of, I guess. Mostly through drafting, but free agency too.
Yeah. I guess if it's up to the GM if they want to, most GMs I don't think really do this too much. I think actually I don't know. I don't think a lot of GMs really shape their roster through moves like trades and things like that. They just kind of draft their players and let them develop, and then try to make it work with what they have.
Yes,
rather
typically
than trying like pick and choose. I want this kind of player and this kind of player, and trading to acquire those types of players. Uh, Dang it, I don't really know how to approach this now that I'm looking at it.
Yeah, as speaking as a GM, I think it's important for a GM to talk player builds with people, and maybe not take an active hand so much as be a slight guiding push. You know what I mean?
Right.
To
Yes.
me, what really becomes the sign that you've done good as a GM is when other players in the locker room are helping people with their player builds and helping people
Yes.
talk through that. That to me is a sign that you raised good players.
Yeah, in the SMJHL, that was like in my kind of early days, that was kind of the setup we had. Is like Jedi didn't have to really do a whole lot. We had Baller Storm, who was super active back then, and he kind of took care of most everything. Not that wasn't like a GM duty. He kept activity up in the locker room. He ran test sims to kind of help us tweak our player builds a little bit and made suggestions along those lines. So I mean, yeah, if you've got the right players and you've kind of built the right locker room culture, that kind of stuff may not always, but it can take care of itself.
Yeah, yeah. In Vancouver, that's how it works too. Is just the vets help the rookies because it's just what they do. That's what they're used to doing, and that to me is a sign that you've built a really good locker room.
Yeah, for sure. So I think it's a matter of being available and yeah, a big part of it's being available for when questions arise or players do need help. That should be less in the SHL than it is in the SMJHL. I suppose in the SMJHL, it's gonna be more on the GM and locker room to guide the newer players. Should they help shepherd users through site navigation? Absolutely. The site is super confusing when you first get here.
I would say maybe less so now with the new site, but still probably. Yeah.
It's hard because it becomes like it takes, I don't know, a couple of weeks, maybe a month, I don't know. But once you get used to it, it's like everything makes sense. You know where everything is.
Yeah, it's second nature.
To understand that it's confusing. But I remember very clearly that when I got here, I was like, oh shit, what do I do now? I have no idea where anything is. What do I do?
Yeah, I didn't get any help navigating the site my first few weeks. I kind of trial by fired it, so.
Yeah, mine was weird because I came in after the draft, so I got signed quite quickly, and then so I got help fairly quickly. But it was still first couple days I had no idea what was going on.
Right, and that's probably a good thing that you did get help. I think doing it trial by fire is not the best way of raising people up, but I think a GM probably should help people navigate the site who need help with that. As far as avoiding drama, common sense would help with that, but if people like drama, whether or not you tell them to stay away from it, they're going to find it anyway. Yeah. If people don't like drama, they probably won't find it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can help anybody avoid drama because these days it's kind of everywhere, Discord or otherwise.
Yeah, I think SMJHL, I would, SMJHL, I would try to help players avoid drama. But at SHL level, I think at that point you kind of have to know who you've got, and
yeah,
they're going to do what they're going to do. It's a little more hands off. So you just kind of got to know who you're getting when you're drafting people or making moves or whatever. Boundaries. I mean, I guess there's really nothing. There really aren't a lot of boundaries. It just comes down to not demanding things and more making suggestions and offering help rather than, requiring things of your players necessarily. I mean, I don't know.
And I think a GM's boundaries are probably different from GM to GM too.
Certainly, yeah, I would say so.
If you're like me, like I said, I'm an idiot that just wings it and gets lucky because the GM before me built a really good base. I'm kind of hands off. I'll help people if they ask, and I will talk mostly in the management chat, but I'll kind of let chat do its thing without me because Vancouver's pretty active. I'm a hands off GM. My boundaries are if you ask me for help, I'll help you, and if you don't, I'll be here. Some GMs are gung ho. How can I help? Being active 24/7. How can I help? How can I help? How can I help? So I do think it's a locker room to locker room, GM to GM sort of thing. What the boundaries are.
Yeah. I think the goal for kind of every team should be to have that kind of hands off, the ability to be hands off as a GM, because that means you've created, or in the past, or currently, or whatever, the locker room culture has been created and it's really good. So you don't really have to do a whole lot. It just kind of it sustains itself.
Yes, and that I think you're right. That should be the goal: is having a locker room that has vets that know what they're doing to help out rookies who will become vets that know what they're doing. So a GM only has to be there if they're asked.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's the ideal kind of scenario.
For juniors, at least, probably for SHL too. But
yeah, SHL is a bit different because at
I've
that point,
got
most
no GM experience there.
have an idea of what they're doing. Yeah, I don't either, but I feel like I'm fairly veteran and capable of giving advice regarding builds. So, and I don't feel like I'm like out of place making those kinds of suggestions, because I have been in the league a long time and I feel like I have done a lot in terms of like player builds and testing and that kind of thing. And I've played under people who are really, really knowledgeable. So I think I'm in a position where I can do that and feel like it's valuable to people. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. Kind of, I don't know. This is a tricky question. I had I think an idea of where this question was going to go, and it didn't go quite the way I thought it might.
Yeah, it's a good question that I bet you everyone's got a different opinion.
Yeah, I'm sure. I bet I would. Yeah, I'd be surprised if there weren't people out there that thought things like trying to I don't know how to word this without making it sound like the GM's being a dick. But like try to steer players in a particular direction with their builds in the interest of having the type of player they want on their roster.
Absolutely. I think people definitely think that way. But yeah, it's a very complex topic.
Yeah. I don't know. Do we cover it, do you think?
I think we covered it as well as we're going to.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Slappy.
Yeah. And check out Slappy, check out my my PT this week, PT number 2. You're featured in it. You're at least your previous player, Slappy McDoodle, because I'm a fan.
Not the phenom Otis B. Driftwood.
Well, yeah, I mean he's a dragon, so
a little early. Yeah, he's a dragon. It's a fair point, Rich. I can't even argue with you.
So yeah, you want to hit the last thing we're going to talk about?
Yeah, let's do it. This is a really interesting topic.
Cool. Let me pull up my stuff again. Oh crap! It's probably.
I'm just going to go back in our Discord messages.
So this was being talked about kind of briefly in the Minnesota Discord, because we've got Argar, who is he the head? He's the head, right?
He's the head of Hall of Fame, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. But basically, the next Hall of Fame, the next set of eligible players, the class is really stacked, and I don't even think this probably isn't all the players. This is just the 4 that are like automatic, basically. But basically, in this next Hall of Fame class, we've got Lord Pretty Flacco, Jasper Clayton, Bubba Nuck, and Theo Kane, all of whom are pretty much 100% Hall of Famers.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
And they're all going to be in the same class. And I think I don't know the rules in the Hall of Fame, but I feel like it's not possible for them all to be first ballot.
Is it only 3? Let's check the rules.
Oh, is there? Yeah, I have no idea.
There's got to be rules.
Because this was the discussion that was being had. Is like the way it was worded. It seemed like, okay, these guys can't all be first ballot, which I assumed, but I don't know the number. Is it 2 or 3 or what? I have no idea.
There's got to be rules, right?
Maybe it's. Are you looking in the rule book?
I went to the Hall of Fame subsection first. but let's check the rule book.
Yeah. God. I'm having issues with site navigation.
I don't see anything anywhere about Hall of Fame.
Yeah, me too.
Well, let's look at previous ballots.
Three.
Is the question how many they let in
two,
per year?
3. Yeah, kind of. It looks like I'm not seeing more than 3 in any given class, at least in the first page. Oh no, that's not true. There's 4 in S36. Huh.
I think 4 people got in S42 as well.
Did they? I see 3.
Are they the bolded ones?
Just those
Bjornsson,
top 3, yeah.
Bjornsson.
Hamilton, Verminski, and Stinson.
We are on different things. I'm in the S42 Hall of Fame ceremony right now.
Oh.
Are they different?
I was just in the actual Hall of Fame section. Those, I think, are first. The bolded are first ballot. This is their first ballot, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Wait, that can't be right.
Yeah.
7th or final ballot. Okay. So that's their last chance. Is the bolded players.
That's their last chance. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just go to the Hall of Fame then. Give me the Hall of Fame. Is that under Hall of Fame? Am I just a fucking idiot?
Just a big Hall of
Fame. Okay, yeah. So 3, 3, 2,
but I see
2.
4 in
3.
S36.
Yeah, 4. I bet you if they get enough votes, you know. But for the sake of the argument, let's just say 3.
Yeah, let's do that because that makes it way more interesting. So we've got a list. Maybe do you want to? Well, basically, all these guys are super decorated.
I can attach a screen cap of the awards
the
when I post this.
Okay, full disclosure, that list that I gave you is the one that Argar gave me, so it's not mine.
Okay, I'll tag Argar and give him thanks, I guess. I don't know.
So yeah, I mean these guys, it's crazy. These are 3 extremely good individually. Although, so first off, right off the bat, they all have cups, so you can check that box off for all of them.
Yeah, they all have cups.
Yeah, so that's not really an issue that is even worth considering. Theo Kane and LPF only have 1, which I don't know if that matters. I don't think in this case it does to me too much, just because those 2 guys are both probably the most individually decorated of these 4.
Yes, for sure.
My initial reaction is Clayton's number 4.
Yeah, maybe, right? I know we talked about this off air. It's got to be, and I've changed my opinion from what I had. It's got to be Clayton or Nuck as your 4, right? Because I feel like LPF and Kane are givens, just because they have a cup, and they're incredibly decorated, and they had great numbers, right? Like just stellar numbers.
Yep. Yeah, Kane is 6th all time in points right now, and he's very much in line with the seasons played for the rest of the guys kind of around him. He's not got a whole bunch extra or anything like that. So that's it's good. LPF is 11th, and he is kind of in line, maybe slightly on the low side. The guys above him all have at least like 3 or 4 more seasons played. So that's quite solid. I mean, we know he was in the probably, I guess, early mid-30s. He was kind of like one of the elite players in the league. S31, 32, 34, and 36, first team All-Star. Then the thing for me on Nuck is the 5 cups, but not so much the 5 cups themselves, but the fact that he did it on 3 different teams, which is quite impressive to me.
Yeah, which is a fair point.
I think it was 2 in Hamilton, 2 in Calgary, and 1 in Manhattan. I think I looked it up a couple days ago.
I want to say you're right. The whoever doesn't make it in first ballot is going to make it in second ballot without a doubt.
Yeah, they're all Hall of Famers, 100%. It's just a matter of, does somebody get left out? I don't know.
Clayton is the and I love Eggy to pieces. So Clayton is the outlier here. Yeah, Clayton seems to be the outlier here.
He's 11th all time in shots blocked, which is good, quite good, especially since I don't think he's like a huge. He doesn't have a huge number of seasons played.
Yeah, S27 was his draft year.
Where is he? Oh, the Bojo box is maybe not updated. He has 17, 18 seasons. I think this will be his 18th season, I believe.
Right, which is yeah.
Which is fine, I think, given the other players on that would put him basically in line with the top guys in shots blocked outside of Victor Svensson, who is 7th all time in 15 seasons played, which is kind of bananas.
Right.
Yeah, to me, it's got to be it's Eggy 4th. I wonder if he gets consideration for. I don't think the Hall of Fame committee makes considerations for, like the fact that he's commissioner or anything like that.
Yeah,
this is all numbers.
This is a numbers. This is a player thing. This is not necessarily a user thing.
Yeah.
If this was a user Hall of Fame, Eggy would have been inducted years ago.
I think he's got. Does he have a lifetime one yet?
Yeah, he got the lifetime. He got the lifetime.
Yeah. I think that's kind of that part of it. The user part of it is that. Nuck 3 times Stevens. Eggy's only 1 time.
Yeah, I think based on the numbers and the awards, Eggy's probably your 4th. Eggy will make it in. Clayton will make it in next year, without a doubt.
Yeah.
But yeah, when going up against the other 3 people that we listed here, it's just kind of tough to. They're in the same weight class, but Clayton's probably the closest to being one below. They're all heavyweights, but Clayton's probably close to whatever's below a heavyweight.
Yeah.
I don't watch boxing.
You got an order, you think? Who gets the most votes?
Who gets the most votes? Probably LPF.
I think that's the way I feel too. I think Theo Kane, when he was his best, was maybe, I'd have to look, but my feeling is his best was better than LPF's, but I think LPF was
consistently
playing at
better.
that super high level for longer.
Yeah, I think LPF gets the most first place votes.
That'd be my feeling on it too. LPF followed by Theo Kane.
Then
I guess it might depend on the committee, but my feeling on it would be Nuck than Eggy.
Exactly right. It depending on who's voting. Yeah, I would go LPF, Kane, Nuck, Clayton.
That's crazy.
That's the order that makes most sense. I mean, that's such a fucking stacked class.
Yeah, it's funny. He was Argar was talking about the class after this. It's not quite on the same level. It's kind of funny. I mean, there's some good players, but these guys are like, you look at them and go, those guys are Hall of Famers. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah, exactly.
The next class, it's like, maybe?
Maybe 3rd ballot, maybe 4th ballot. But yeah, these guys are, and again, hell, we've seen 4 people get inducted before. It's possible we might see all 4 of these guys go in first ballot.
Yeah.
No guarantees.
Voting works. I guess maybe if the order was mixed up enough, it would be possible. I'm not sure.
If there was, I think if it's a tie, did they add both?
I don't know. I don't know how the voting works and how much points you get based on. I don't know how any of this works. So I don't know what scenario, what it would take to get them all 4, or it's probably unlikely, which is why I think Argar was probably assuming one of them will be left out.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's got to be Clayton.
Yeah, that's my feeling on it. Hey, let us know in the comments, guys.
Smash
what
like.
Do you think?
Smash like, please. Smash up rep on your boy. No, seriously. Like, I'm sure both of us would love to hear what anybody else has to think about this because
legitimately.
Like, yeah, legit. Tell us your thoughts.
Said it that way, ironically, but I did mean it.
Absolutely, yeah. Because this is an interesting discussion to have, not just between the two of us, but I think it could be interesting discussion in general. Maybe we'll see it in the PT. I don't know.
Yeah, that would be cool, actually. Yeah, I think that would make for a great PT. Wally, who doesn't listen, probably.
I'll tag him. I will specifically make sure to tag him.
um, I don't really have anything else to add to that, I guess.
No, I think that's a really solid way to wrap up. We talked about some downers in this one, and then we talked about some uppers, you know?
Yeah.
And we're wrapping up right under an hour and a half.
Yeah. Oh, have you listened to Wasty's podcast?
I need to, though, because he's my player, and I should probably do him that service.
Oh, it's interesting. It's a little different.
I hope, is it just him yelling? Because that's really what I want it to be.
What's that?
Is it just him yelling? Because that's what I want.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't really yell. He's pretty chill. It's just it's a different perspective. And I know he had done these, I think, in text form. These kind of ask. Maybe that's Leafs who does the ask a GM or something like that.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm confused. I thought Westy had done something like this in the past, but I'm probably misremembering. But yeah, it's interesting. It's nice to hear a kind of a long-time GM's perspective like that.
I'll give it a listen. Shout out to Ask Wasty.
Yeah, I listened to it. Kind of, I had it in the background while I was doing other stuff earlier today. It's pretty cool. Yeah, that's it. I got nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm clear for the week. So as always, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for listening. I'm Adam.
Yep.
This is Rich.
Hey,
and
I'm
we'll
Rich.
see ya. We'll see you next week.
Yeah. Bye-bye.